Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Prophetic Trumpet. We begin a new series that is going to carry us into the end of the year. We are at the end of the year. Believe it or not, we have just concluded an incredible series, 12 parts. Hope that you enjoyed it. We're actually going to springboard from that into some deeper topics that radiate from that and actually tie into where we were at the beginning of the year as we kind of update things that we have covered here on the Prophetic Trumpet week in and week out since the top of the year. Now, I'm going to start here by talking about something that is not commonly associated with prophecy, and that's universal health care. Universal health care is a topic that seems great in theory, but its practice has a lot to be desired around the nations of the world. Now, this system is meant for the well-being and really for everybody in facilitating the health care of everybody in a respective country. But the complications come with how it's paid for. We can understand that. And how often the public can access it. And at what level of care is provided for those under universal health care. Now, with the advent of this, there are many countries where we have documented evidence that addicts have invaded the system to exploit the opportunity to gain pharmaceuticals, and general practitioners are booked for months in advance when they're really not dealing with anybody with any ailments. They're dealing with people that have addiction issues. Then there's the weaponization of universal health care by the government against its people as a means to be able to control the people. The industry itself got exposed during the medical emergency of 2020, which was initiated by World Economic founder and leader Klaus Schwab, who has since stepped away, but he admitted that the medical emergency of 2019, which really the impact was in 2020, outbreak is the first big step towards unprecedented control over mankind, end quote. Now, in April of 2020, as part of what was deemed as the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab even wrote a book forecasting the emergence of the CV-19 debacle. The weapon of choice was inoculations, in coordination with the entity known as the pharmaceutical groups, and this fella by the name of Bill Gates. You may have heard of him. So they paid insane amounts of money to have these pushed on people of the world for the sake of depopulation, according to the words of Bill Gates himself. I've got a link that you can access in the notes. This came from sociable.co, and then you've got a much longer derivative there of government-and policy /time -great-reset-agenda-event-20 or 201 pandemic and -2020. That being said, I don't want to deter from the message. You see, what happens if your government unveils laws that determine your accessibility is based upon your submission to mandatory health protocols? This is something that has been a fear for quite a long time in the populaces of the world. Technology exists to track your health, a database, but few of us utilize it or even have access to it. The database does exist with all of your health records. It is out there. So what would happen if you do not comply with the inoculations and it is used against you, forbidding you access to venues and opportunities or even access to your job? Because your database, your digital health record, prohibits you because you have not complied. What if you were removed from your family because you did not comply with the inoculation laws? What if you were removed from your family because you did not comply with inoculation? This is something that we need to consider. What if your health was part of your identity to the government under universal health care? Because they are not in this for your well-being. You're a cog in a machine that will be replaced when you get to a certain age, and they help you expire because they believe you take up too much space and produce too much carbon. Well, they have access to everything, I might add, under one ruler. That's how it is prophetic. This is all tied to Marxism, and this is part of the corporate move of America. It's not just America, but this is what the corporate world of America embodies and has for close to 50 years. And it is entirely Marxist. You see, this is also tied to the advent of the rise of digital identification. The digital ID wallet will schedule your mandatory inoculations. For those of you that are not aware, digital ID spoke of earlier this year, mind you, in a prophetic trumpet episode, has been spreading very, very quickly. Very quickly. The comparison with the mark of the beast cannot be dismissed or denied, because there are some eerie similarities, because it is what gives you access to resources. It is what gives you access to opportunities and even access to your finances. We're going to cover that next week. You see, this year in London, at the Global Progress Conference, it was announced that digital ID is now mandatory for employees and employment anywhere in the United Kingdom. That's accessibility. That's employment. This accessibility and opportunity for the sake of making a livelihood would be denied you if you denied digital ID. And again, I have this information cited in the notes below. The repercussions of this to anyone who resists will be absolutely catastrophic. For the United Kingdom, this is a quick implementation of a system utilized in communist China. It is the same China that it is a surveyed state, which access is utilized by point by point by point with facial recognition, with fingerprints, to move from one point to another, one area to another, one venue to another, even into your own home. 17 countries, 17, interesting number there, have rolled out or passed digital ID laws in the last 4 months. The EU is among them. The United Kingdom, Laos, that's Laos, for those who don't know how to spell Laos. China, obviously, has a implementation of this. Taiwan, Mexico, Zambia, Canada, oh, Canada, yeah. Ethiopia, who is quite prominent in the book of Revelation, I might mind you, or in Ezekiel 38 to 39. Thailand, Vietnam, Australia, who dared booed the national anthem of the United States last month. Costa Rica has digital ID law. Switzerland, and Papua New Guinea. That's the 17 that have digital ID laws passed. Do not be mistaken. The world is a much smaller place, and the beast system is rising. Time is running short, just as the book of Revelation said it would. I want to thank you for joining us for this week's Prophetic Trumpet. Please like and share the message and get the truth of God's Word out to the world. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next week as we continue the series on the beast system rising. God bless.